The logos of famous companies affect the way we purchase things in our daily lives. Often we're not even necessarily aware of it. Because once a signature look has been grounded into your brain, you no longer need an elaborate advertising campaign or an impactful TV spot. Just one glance at a logo, and we all have a desire to go shopping or eat a burger. However, not all logos are perfectly designed from the get-go. For some, it was a long journey to their current designs. That's why today, we'll show you 5 famous logos that used to look completely different. Let's go. Number 5. Adidas. When Adolf Dassler started the now massively successful company Adidas, he was already 49 years old. Known back then as Adi Dassler Adidas Sports Shoe Factory, he had 47 employees producing his shoes. And on the day of August 18, 1949, he first registered what would become the hallmark 3-stripe design. At first, the company's logo was still quite simple, with the 3 stripes being only indicated by the extension of the stems on the letter D. But it was still a very long road to the current logo, which is so grounded into our brains, because there were several iterations of the design in the meantime. In 1972, the Olympics were held in Germany, and Adidas debuted its famous 3-stripe, which at the time was meant to represent performance and diversity. However, it was later replaced as the brand's logo with the one we currently know. Nevertheless, the triple stripe is still very much present and has even become a hallmark of their originals collection. The newest logo of this shoe giant was introduced in 1997, with 3 stripes being reused, but this time to form the shape of a mountain. This is not a coincidence though, since it's meant to represent the challenge of overcoming obstacles. In this case, the 3 bars now represent different stages one might face on their path. Moving on to number 4, Apple Inc. It's probably the most famous logo in the whole world, the half-eaten apple of Apple, which the company has used in various versions since 1977. But if you look at the very first logo of the technology group, it bears little resemblance to its successor. Then, it was a very fragmented image of Isaac Newton sitting under an apple tree, an allusion to his discovery of gravity. However, it was quickly determined that the printing of such a complex image was difficult to say the least. They needed something simpler, and so Rob Janoff was brought on board, and it was he who developed the idea of the bitten apple. But why a half-eaten apple as opposed to one that's completely intact? The common statement is that it's a play on words, in the sense that to bite has a similarity with computer bite. But the story Janoff has about it is much more amusing. He explains the origin of the apple as this. The bite makes clear that it is an apple and not, for example, a cherry. This is something that anyone could do. Take a big, hearty bite out of an apple. It may sound stupid, but that's the way it is. Anyway, who needs some kind of a profound statement with a timeless logo like that? Next up, number 3, Burger King. It may seem hard to believe, but this silly little man sitting with a soft drink and a burger represented the Burger King brand for 12 years. What now seems like a joke was the company's first step toward today's logo, since the previous font had little to do with burgers and their color. Do you think at the sight of a rising sun you'd suddenly get an appetite for fast food? Probably not. So it's no surprise then that the company decided to adopt the burger as their logo. Fortunately, the little king eventually disappeared, when in 1969 a new logo debuted, which is a little closer to the current. It's simple and memorable. It was Burger King, in red letters, stuck between 2 burger buns. Over the years, the font has been altered and made much more dynamic with a little bit of a tilt, and even the buns got a little more volume through the use of some light reflections. Also, the whole thing is encircled by a blue stripe. It seems to be working though, because the logo has remained unchanged since 1999. Next up, number 2, Instagram. This is the one that everyone has been talking about recently. Instagram, the popular photo sharing app, has got a new logo. While the company felt positive and enthusiastic about the change, they were met with a lot of criticism from users. The old logo had a retro design reminiscent of the iconic Lomo camera, which was very popular and had an appealing look. This was quite different than the logo's colorful successor, which had almost nothing to do with this role model. While the colors lasted, they were often made fun of, because it was compared to what a child might put together in Word. This meant that the new version was at least parodied relentlessly in memes. The symbol of the camera remained, however, adopted a very minimalist, flat design. Anyway, the debate surrounding last year's design flop has simmered down, but it still seems that the new logo just doesn't have the same weight that the older one had. And finally, number 1, McDonald's. If you were to ask any kid or adult in the world to trace the McDonald's logo, they probably could, because it's so simple and so memorable. But hardly anyone from the younger generations will have any idea where the golden M actually comes from. The art structure was already an important element of the company's image, but it hadn't occurred to them early on to put it in the logo. At the time, the simple words of McDonald's famous barbecue were shown on signs because the McDonald's brothers wanted to put focus onto the specific architecture of their restaurants, which could be easily observed as 2 giant yellow arches which stretched all the way from left to right, from the floor to the roof. While the arches disappeared from the restaurants in the early 60s, they were still used as the basis for a new logo. The golden M, representing the two arcs side by side, has been the McDonald's logo ever since. Many people see it as a couple things: yellow swings, French fries, even a bosom. So perhaps it's no coincidence that one of their old slogans was "Give Mom a Night Off." If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, or check out a few more videos here. That's all for today. Until next time, bye!